Here we go again. Hi, Nick. We wanted to let you know that our team has reviewed your content, and we think that it violated our community guidelines. Doesn't really tell you what I violated. We know that you may not have realized that this was a violation of our policy, so we have not applied a strike to your channel. However, we have removed the following content from YouTube, and this video was Ian R. Crane interview on Red Ice Creations Radio, September 2008, Rick Clay Aftermath. For those who don't know who Rick Clay is, I've done an extensive video on him. I think it was like 11/11 or something like that. You can actually find the full 4-hour video, the interview video of Rick Clay on my channel. It's kind of a tragic story to Rick Clay because shortly after the interview, that's on my YouTube channel, which was, if I remember rightly, I think it was June 2008. A couple of months later, sadly, Rick took his own life. There's been various speculations online whether or not, I hate this speculation, whether or not he was, taken out by the Illuminati or something like that. And you think, hold on a minute, you got Jordan Maxwell, David Icke, and amongst other people that have way more knowledge than Rick Clay ever had. But yeah, people say, no, he was taken out by the Illuminati. I think that's just ill-founded, in my personal opinion. And the reason why I put this video up, the aftermath of Rick Clay's death, and this was an interview with Ian R. Crane, which is the third video that has been taken down from Ian R. Crane. And it was to go over conspiracy theories and how to handle conspiracy theories. And I think that's very important, especially in 2024, where I've seen a lot of, I hate to use the word normies or like vaccinated people, because the past year or two, I've actually met normies or vaccinated people, and they're perfectly normal, happy people. And actually, I get on quite well with them. So I hate to put people in like a box or category. But I have to admit, there are more and more people that are waking up to the tyranny that's been going on around the world, especially in this country of England, as we are September the 4th, 2024. Yeah, go figure. It's not looking good. It's not looking good for England, America, I should say, and for the rest of the world. But nevertheless, let's go back to Rick Clay, because I think it's important to handle conspiracy theory or the truth movement in, I say, a more light-hearted way. And I'm going to get to the point of this. The fact that when you do full-time research into the truth movement, you're not going to stick down one avenue. You're going to look down many different avenues. You're going to go down to a deep rabbit hole. And I've been there twice. My awakening was 9/11, when my mum showed me something on the early days of YouTube. And this was 2007. This is going back a long time. Well, for me, it's a long time anyway. And I was just shocked. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was something to do with the Pentagon. It was the Pentagon, the plane that supposedly hit it, but they cropped a photograph of what the actual plane would have been to the actual impact of the Pentagon, and you can see the plane was not big enough, and there was hardly any debris. And I thought, hold on a minute, that's a bit weird. And then you start going down to the rabbit hole. It takes over your life when you've gone from MSN, the mainstream media, CNN brain or Sky brain or BBC brain for so many years, and then suddenly you realize, hold on a minute, I've been lied to, which we're going to get to the pandemic in a minute. It changes your aspect of your life, and there is no going back to the normal way that you thought, unless something comes along. For instance, me, it was my girlfriend, and then everything sort of changed for me. I sort of moved away from the truth movement and focused on Star Wars and Marvel movies that took over my life. And what I want to do is play an extract of the interview, just the beginning of it. And I think this goes for a lot of people who are new to the truth movement. And they're and this is what I was like, and I put my hand up for this, very agitated. very concerned, and you're finding all this information on BitChute and various platforms, video platforms, and you immediately want to tell people about it. Trust me, I understand the urge of finding new sources of information, new wisdom, for instance. But is it necessarily the truth, though? This is it. Operation Mockingbird works both ways. I'll get to Operation Mockingbird if I bloody remember it. But when you're new to the community, you think you feel obligated to tell other people because it is mind-blowing stuff, and it really is. But it's the way you say it, it's how you say it. Okay, I've been there. I've made myself look like a complete idiot talking about conspiracy theories, but you tend to like huff and puff and get agitated and all that. But over the years, I started to realize if you talk a certain manner, sort of nice, calm and relatable manner, the other person will actually respond to you on a more or less a rational way. So I see that a lot in the truth movement at the moment. But I have to admit, more and more people are waking up because of the pandemic. That's my personal opinion. And amongst other social things that have been going on in the public eye. And before I get to the interview, I just want to tell about my experience with being reawakened. Back in 2007 and 8, I realized that I was lied to pretty much my whole life. And the weapons of mass destruction, the war in Iraq, was a big wake-up call for me because that I remember that term is a bit like safe and effective. Weapons of mass destruction, weapons of mass destruction. That's all I heard back in 2004. And it was a massive fear campaign thinking that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. It turned out he didn't. And you think about Dr. David Kelly and what happened to him. That was suspicious. He said, I don't know if you know Dr. David Kelly, he was the chief weapon inspector. He was sent into Iraq by Tony Blair just to find, right, you're going to go find those weapons of mass destruction. And then he came back and says, there are none. And Tony Blair was like, right, you best go back again, Dr. David Kelly, you best go back and you must check properly this time if Saddam Hussein has any weapons of mass destruction. He went, he came back, there are none. And from then, there was a massive campaign to demonize the guy, saying he was sleeping with prostitutes. It's been a long time since I looked into the case. And he said to his mate, don't be surprised if they find me dead in the forest. Day after, what happened? Found him dead in the forest. And the official story saying that he took his own life. Well, we know people in that sort of position, especially in the governmental position, that don't go along with the official story. We should have just said, yes, they did. But we had the balls to say, no, they didn't. And look what happened to him. Obviously bumped off, clearly. So that was an eye-opener for me. And from 2007 to 2012, it was just full-blown conspiracy theory stuff. In fact, can anybody remember this? I put Edge Media TV in Google and this image came up. I clicked on it and it's actually my video I made myself on my Rumble channel, Investigate with Nick 89. I'm surprised I actually put this on Google. And it's not Google, it's Bing, and that is a great platform to find conspiracy theory videos. So if you're a conspiracy theorist and you had a Sky subscription, which is basically cable TV, and if you went to Sky Channel 200, you will come across this channel. Can anyone remember Edge Media TV back in 2008 on Sky Channel 200? This was a channel dedicated to all things conspiracy and alternative views. You had great talk shows, Gardener's World, On the Edge with Frankie May and Theo Chalmers, One Step Beyond, and not forgetting Richard D. Hall. There were great interviews, people from like Andy Thomas, Anthony J. Hilder, Dr. Judy Wood, and David Icke himself. There were also great programs such as Now That's Weird, Question Everything, and a news channel called Democracy Now! There were also documentaries shown on this channel as well, such as Loose Change, Zeitgeist, In Plain Sight, and not forgetting the legend himself, Ian R. Crane. He had lectures all over Edge Media TV, lectures like For Me Once, War on Terror, and Truth Injection. Sadly, on the 30th of August 2013, Edge Media TV network closed forever due to funding issues. Yeah. So that's a little video I made back in a couple of years ago. Could tell by my bloody hair, innit? Edge Media TV was something I would watch every single day. Sky Channel 200, it just seems to be impossible that something like this will be on a public platform. You literally had David Icke, you had, like I said, a bunch of 9/11 documentaries. You like flipping over like the news channels, and then suddenly you come across this, like David Icke talking about flipping reptilians. And you just don't have it anymore, and it's such a shame. So Edge Media TV is like a nostalgic. It's something I hold close to my heart, and it does feel a bit nostalgic, even though it's like 2008. But I do miss it dearly. But this is where I found Ian R. Crane, which led me to this chap. So I found Rick Clay through Ian R. Crane because he was doing an interview with Red Ice Creations, which is pretty much banned from YouTube. You can find them on Google. They've had a massive stigma campaign against them, calling them white supremacists and stuff like that, which is just absolute total flipping nonsense. But back in the day, the host of Red Ice Creations Radio, you can find all their broadcasts that they've done over the years on their website, rediceradio.com. And at this time period of 2008, and if you're in the conspiracy realm of 2008, 2012 was the year of the end of the world and also the spiritual awakening. Okay, because now we're in 2024. That's what I keep hearing is the spiritual awakening. Rick Clay here did a lot of research into 2012 London Olympics, into symbolisms, astrology, linking the number 1111, which tends to haunt me these days. Is kind of weird. It tends to crop up everywhere. So he did various amounts of research into a realm of topics, but in such a short period of time. And this is what is the point of today's video, is that Rick was working at such a speed. I think it just consumed him. And this also goes down to how strong the person is, the well-being of the person. Are they quite sensitive? Are they quite reliable in, for instance, like stressful situations? They can cope with stuff like being in tense situations, or you get someone who's a bit sensitive, or quite weak in one respect, being bombarded or going down this rabbit hole of conspiracy talk. I think it does not end well, because like I said, conspiracy theories, it doesn't bring warmth to the heart. Okay, there's no good conspiracy theory that I'm aware of anyway. It's being in the truth movement in one way, it is living in fear. It's doing exactly the same as what the BBC is doing, but in a different way. I have never met someone in the truth movement who isn't talking about a subject that is bad. Fluoride in the water, chemtrails being sprayed. Literally, there's an endless list of conspiracies that is fun to speculate, but how far can you take it? And this is all about speculation about how Rick was. Now, shortly after the interview he did in June of 2008, about 2 months later, like I said, he sadly took his own. So what I want to do is play about 5 minutes of the video that was removed from my channel, which, by the way, it's still up on YouTube in a different channel, so I don't know why I'm being targeted. But this is the point of the video of today, is just that I think it's important how to integrate conspiracy theories, especially in 2024, and at the same time, I say more rational way and not take things too seriously, because it can lead you down such a dark rabbit hole. And the amount of people I've spoken to are it's just fucking crazy. Just they've lost their mind. You can't have a conversation without them screaming and shouting about conspiracy theories. It goes for my generation, the older generation. I'm not picking sides and I'm not picking people. It's just that I keep seeing that over and over again. And I think sometimes you need a healthy detachment. And I know in 2024, things are absolutely batshit crazy. And I'm surprised people are more into the conspiracy realm, because you cannot be in 2024. It's just, everything's shifted and changed in terms of the public, and I think vibrationally as well. So let's play the first 5 minutes of the interview with Ian R. Crane on Red Ice Radio. And just pay attention to the host, which is named Henrik. And I think this video is important for people to learn to, it's okay to take a step back and not stick down like an echo chamber. The conspiracy topics is overwhelming, and it can lead you, like I said, down this terrible rabbit hole. So you've got to learn to detach. And that was the whole point of why I uploaded this video. I did appeal for this video, but it was rejected. It's a very common theme now on YouTube, is where we see in information that is deemed worthy of more attention just being stripped away. So let's play the first 5 minutes of this interview. And if you are one of those people out there, and I'm not judging, I don't want to be judgmental, but if you're down the conspiracy realm 24/7 and you're finding it a bit too much in life, just listen to what Henrik has to say, because I think it is important to take in what he has to say and integrate it into your life. And we're going to talk a little bit afterwards about how to balance conspiracy theories into everyday life. If you go onto this YouTube channel, Big Balls Deep, I like that name, Big Balls Deep, there's tons of interviews from Red Ice Radio all the way back from 2006 to 2014, I think, when they finished doing those interviews. So yeah, tons of content for you to delve into. But this was the video that was removed from my channel, and I just pay attention to what Henrik has to say.
And today on the program, we have Ian Crane back with us on the show. We first had Ian with us back in May, talking about Codex Alimentarius and the New World Order's quest for Zion in 2012. About 2 weeks after that, we had the young man Rick Clay with us, talking about a similar topic, connecting many threads about 2012, the London Olympics, Zion, Project Blue Beam, and Prince William, and much more. And I also think that Rick and Ian corresponded a little bit back and forth around that same time. And as you probably know right now, as you're listening to this program, you probably know that Rick Clay is dead. He has left us. He has passed away. And myself and Ian are going to talk a little bit about this here today. We're going to talk about Rick Clay at the beginning of the program, and talk about what we know happened so far, and the importance of integration, if you will, of information and these kinds of topic, how to deal with information, and how this is relating to your own perception in a way, and if there's some kind of lesson, if you will, that we can learn from this and take with us, and hopefully prevent this in a way from happening again, and so forth. It's very important, and I think it's important also to recognize that something can be learned out of this horrific event here.
Because Rick may not be the only one, you see. So I this is why I just want to play this, because I just think it's important for people like myself as well, who I have to admit have been consumed by conspiracy theories this year, from the point where it's been fun and not to take it seriously, to the point I'm taking it a bit too seriously. And going back into this video, I think you need a healthy level of detachment. And I understand it's very, very difficult for a lot of people in 2024, but this was the point, is that Rick Clay may not be the only one.
We also waited to comment on this out of respect for Rick's family and his friends, of course, to leave some room and some time to let this sink in, to let some breathing space here for his family before sending like 300 emails and demanding answers about whatever. But some people just can't seem to let this sink in and have a bloody rest before starting to speculate, and consequently then knowing at that point with 100% certainty what has happened. Although they never met Rick or never talked to him, they're like hovering vultures waiting to almost pick the bones, if you will, and get a piece of the action without realizing that what has happened has now happened, and no matter how much we speculate, it won't bring Rick back. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't ask questions. Of course we should. This is very healthy. I think it's a good sign of concern about each other, a sign that people care. Asking questions and wanting to find out is a key aspect of all of this. But to make assertions and coming to premature conclusions, and then blabbering out these ideas and theories as absolute facts or absolute proof that this has happened, that's another another thing here. Also, of course, again, that paranoia goes hand in hand with conspiracy research. It's rampant. It comes with the territory in a way, and that's part of some people's journey as well. That's fine. We should also mention, of course, that just because you're paranoid, that doesn't mean that they aren't after you, and all of that kind of that context. Murder do happens, absolutely. People like David Kelly comes to mind, suspicious murders. But in the case of David Kelly, there's something to go on, some kind of physical evidence, testimony, or eyewitness inconsistencies. But so far, when it comes to Rick, I haven't heard or read anything that points in this direction. Nothing there is no proof here, so to speak, that Rick was murdered. And some people might point to his mood, that he was very cheerful when we talked to him on the program, so therefore he couldn't have done it. But it's very easy to forget that there was a human being behind the research and behind the blog or the website. A human being that, just like all of us, is struggling with oneself, having doubts about themselves and the world, struggling with everyday issues, struggling with insecurity perhaps, and especially being into conspiracy research, just asking the questions, shit, am I nuts to believe this stuff? Is this really going on? Am I losing it? Can it really be true? Kind of inner dialogue. So
yeah, that's a really good point. Lee said this on Alien Addict. It's one of the hosts of the shows on Alien Addict. And I think this is a really important thing for any conspiracy theorist to do, is to look in the mirror and say to myself, am I full of shit? And I think you have to do that to snap out your, I mean, it's likely echo chamber, because it kind of is, and say to yourself, is there a rational thought to this? And you may say to yourself, well, I'm going down the skeptic route. And it's fine to have difference of opinion. You don't have to sit down to one echo chamber like a lot of the truth movement does,
and you who are listening to this have the right to believe whatever you want to believe, obviously. But I'm upset about the fact that when people assert that this was murder, it to me takes away the fact that there was a human being and a personality behind the research, a person who, just like us at times, are struggling with ourselves, the world, and everything that is going on. And just because, as I said, Rick was full of energy, sounded upbeat and positive on the radio programs we did with him, does that mean that he couldn't have changed, that he couldn't have doubts about himself, about what he was into, about his discoveries? We don't know how he might have reacted by hearing 4 hours of himself, of himself and his own research coming back to him, so to speak. It might have sounded strange to him. It might have not have come out the way he wanted to, or it could be something else, nothing to do with the radio program we did with him, but from the attention and the overall feedback via his blog that kind of was momentously building in a way. I don't know, but shouldn't we recognize that there is a human being behind all this that has his own psychology to deal with, his own responses and reactions? What Rick's friends relayed to me is that back in June, one evening, under stress and extreme overthinking, he did lose his mind, and he wasn't ready to plunge into the depths that he did. And for 3 months after this event, he apparently was very far removed from himself. And on August the 28th, Rick decided to take his own. So there you have it. At this point, this is what I have to go on, and until another story emerge or some other detail, whatever it might be, this is what we have to go on. I believe this, and I feel that this is the truth. I personally didn't know Rick all that well. We talked very briefly before the program we did, and very briefly afterwards. I personally don't know what kind of person Rick was. He was very new into this kind of material. He went into it with 110% enthusiasm. He kind of moved so fast, so quickly into this. It's very one reason that we wanted him back on the show as well, to do 2 programs in a row like that, because he was moving so fast, and there was kind of a rush in a way in his research, which is pretty interesting now when I'm thinking back of this again. But Anyway, we tried to calm things down a bit, and with that second Q&A program that we did. But with that being said, awakening is a great thing. There's so much momentum and energy. The hunger for information is incredible, just as it should be. One should, one is connected to the muse in a way, and the information and ideas flows through you in a wonderful way. I think one should surf on the energy of that wave, but one needs to be careful not to be drawn down and into the abyss as well. So make up your own mind about this. Me personally, I don't think that he was murdered. As I've said and stated now, it's important to recognize that esoteric and hidden or occult information is a powerful thing, and conspiracy research is it's a powerful subject. And there have been people in the past that have been, losing their minds on different levels because they can't handle it. One should never be afraid, of course, to investigate, to believe, or have curiosity and an inquisitive mind about these things, but there needs to be a respect for the subject matter as well, a healthy kind of detachment from it all, and a healthy balance. One also needs to live one's life and having a laugh, having a few drinks with some friends or whatever, go out into nature, play, create, paint, draw, have some fun, laugh, disconnect from it all for a while. I think that that's vital to your mental health. It's so important for your personal balance. And I'm not saying that Rick didn't do all of these things, but people are very different. This is something that you have to feel for yourself. You have to know yourself. And I'm just saying that sitting in front of the black screen to the world, as it were, your computer monitor, the palantir, as I call it sometimes, sitting in front of that and with that too much shaping your worldview solely through the information that is gained there, that might not be so great all the time for you. It's like anything, like watching too much TV. Many know that will make you go nuts in one way and psychologically weak, in another. And I think that this shouldn't be solely the main source that dominates your life or shape all our opinions about the world. It all depends on where you look, of course, and what you're looking for. Some people might do fine with absorbing very much information all the time, but demands and pressure is a very powerful thing. So this was Rick's journey on this planet this time around, at least. I'm very proud to have been able to talk to Rick and be part of what he did and the information that he synthesized and brought forward. And I will miss him.
So that's just an excerpt from this interview from Red Ice Radio on September the 11th, 2008. In regards of Rick Clay's passing. Rick Clay's always been on my radar for many years since his passing, because I knew his passing way back in 2008. So it's been a long time, well over 15 years. And it isn't a year I haven't forgotten about Rick. And especially his research. It did talk about the royal family and in regards of Prince William or King William, which is to come. And Henrik made a really good point, the fact that Rick went at such a speed, and he really did. He went 110% into his research. And I know if you listen to Rick Clay's interview, you sound very happy, very upbeat, but at the same time, you don't know what's going on in the person's mind. You really don't know. And some people can take in information. It depends on the person. If they're a very strong-willed person, like I mentioned earlier, or if they're very vulnerable, very weak, have self-doubts with themselves. And unfortunately, like Henrik mentioned, that one day over stress and overthinking, Rick just lost his mind. And I think this is why I uploaded the video. Is just, I think it's a healthy balance to say it's okay to take a step back. It's okay to detach from the conspiracy realm, because it really puts you down a very black hole. I have to admit, and that's from my personal experience. So in one way, finding a hobby, detaching from social media is one good way of starting. Learn to paint, go for a run, listen to more music, do something else that is more productive, that takes your mind off everyday life, because it is a struggle for many people. And it's not ignoring what's actually going on in the world, because we're fully aware of it, what's going on. So this is what I do in my spare time. So every Monday and Thursday for an hour each time, I hang around with these vaccinated normies. And it's the only time in the week where I can actually have a laugh. There's me there. Oh, where am I? There am I, right there. There's muscles. Woo! Yeah, all right, calm down, Nick, calm down. But all these people here, I've had their COVID jabs been boosted, and they know I'm a conspiracy theorist. I'm a tinfoil hat, bloody loony. They call me the sci-fi kid. But I don't ram conspiracy theories down their throat every 5 minutes. It's okay to not talk about conspiracy theories because not everyone wants to hear about it. Except, where is he? Oh, he's not in the bloody picture. Okay, there's his brother who comes to the boot camp. He's a conspiracy theorist. But like I said earlier, it just takes one person to sort of come out and say, actually, I agree with you on that. I'm on the same sort of wavelength. But these people are, even though we all swear and flip the bird and all that, but it's good banter. And I have such a laugh with these people. Yes, we'll be picking ourselves off the floor because it's a boot camp. Good banter, great exercise, honestly, and great bunch of people. So that's my level of detachment. And I think these people are, they're lovely people. If you met them in a pub, you can have a great conversation with them. It doesn't have to be about conspiracies, but if you speak to them like I do, not like huffing and puffing and getting agitated, if you say it nicely and a calm and a reasonable manner, they can actually side with you if you speak rationally. But unfortunately, that takes a bit of time and effort. And sometimes I go a bit overboard. This is my level of detachment. And obviously working out, going to the gym, don't speak to people at the gym, but that's my level of detachment. And I think it is healthy. And one thing I love to do is photography and sky watching. I mean, time-lapse camera. That's to do with flipping chemtrails, but at the same time, I love watching the sky. I love sky watching. This takes me out. Put some music on. I start listening to Chicane. Cheers, darling. That's my cap. Whatever makes you happy, and learn to detach, because not everything's a conspiracy theory. And even going to like conferences and stuff like that, I know you're going to meet the same like-minded people, and I have to admit, yeah, they're all living fear, but we can all work together as a community, and I think it's quite nice. I mean, I always go out with friends, conspiracy theory friends, and yeah, we always have a laugh. And I think one way it's a level of detachment, and at the same time it's kind of not, because you are talking about the same topics, but you're still with the like-minded people, and I think that's still good. I think if you're staying at home on like Henrik said, on a blank screen going down the conspiracy realm, it's not going to do you any good. I've learned that I had to detach myself from research because it just came way too much. I mean, I focused on German flying saucer research. That is my go-to topic, or normally distracts me from everyday world. I know it's ufology and stuff like that. I know it is a conspiracy theory. The hardcore subjects that are out there that really, keeps you up at night. I just want to do just a real quick video just to talk about Rick Clay, a very basic background of Rick, of what happened to him. You can believe whatever you want to believe what the outcome of Rick's passing, but I think saying that he was taken out by the Illuminati, I think that's ill-founded. My personal opinion, and like Henrik says, is taking away that there is a person behind this research. Yeah, I don't know why YouTube taking this video down. I really don't know, but I thought let's just at least talk about it, because I was going to re-upload it and I might end up having another strike, and that'll probably be the end of my channel. In fact, would be the end of my channel. I mean, awakening's a powerful thing, it's a great thing, and I think everyone needs to go through that sort of process, whether or not it's a spiritual thing, but I think it's just the awareness that we've been lied to. So this is going to be the end of the video, and just say that don't take life too seriously, don't take conspiracies too seriously. If you get enjoyment out of it, fun out of it, and it doesn't really affect your life, good for you. I admire that, but I am not that sort of person. I have to detach myself, and this video here teaches me to do that and to integrate conspiracies and everyday life in a very equal balance, and yin and yang, so to speak. So yeah, I'm sure more Ian R. Crane videos will disappear. Unfortunately, you hit the two people here Rick and Ian have both sadly passed away, and two people that I definitely admire. So there we go, guys. I hope you can learn something from this. Live, laugh, love. I think that's the term, isn't it? So anyway, guys, take care of yourself. I shall see you very soon in this ever-changing world of 2024. Don't worry. It'll be fine. It'll work out. It'll work out.